Hello all, welcome to Xerxez Solution. In our ninth session of Module 3, we are going to discuss about another fundamental concept of data science using Python programming language called data visualization. Suppose imagine that when you have a huge amount of a data, so in that cases, making predictions or analyzing the data will be very difficult. So in such cases, there are certain tools in Python programming language. Using those, it's very easy to understand or it's very easy to convert your data into visual presentation. So in this session, we will be discussing about fundamentals of visualization using the library called matplotlib. Okay, so as far as matplotlib is concerned, it will allow us to visualize the data in the basic level. So without further ado, let's start the session. As far as matplotlib is concerned, you can install matplotlib library using the command called pip install matplotlib. Let me try to maximize this so that it will be easy for you to understand the concept. So this is a command. So always remember you have to install this. After that you can start using matplotlib, the library. So the moment when you shift and enter, okay, so you can see the asterisk symbol. Since in my case it is already installed, and after successful installation of the matplotlib library, if you want to use this, you have to import this library. Remember, matplotlib is kind of a class. Inside those classes there will be n number of other classes which will allow you to convert your data into different types of visualizations. For that things we need to import, and to import we use the keyword called import, and this is a library. And always remember, since slowly we are migrating toward data science now, our main intention of this course you to make or you to migrate towards the data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain, DevOps, etc. So this is going to be an fundamental things. From here the hands-on sessions also will start. So if you take any packages, so after successful installation of those packages, you need to use a import keyword to use those packages inside your Jupyter notebook. So let me try to run this one. So you can see it got executed. That means I can use that matplotlib, all the features and the functions in my Jupyter notebook. Now let's try to check the version. So this is also one of the major factors. So versioning, Python, when it comes to Python, there are versions. In packages also there are a certain type of a version. So suppose, let's say if you are using older version and previous code which was designed in using the older version, and next you want to modify it again, the versions will get changed. But make sure that how to play with the versions, that is also one of the challenging tasks generally the developer face while designing any project. Next is, let's try to check the version of this. If you want to check the version of matplotlib, you can use matplotlib dot, okay, underscore underscore version underscore underscore. Okay, so it will give you the current version of your matplotlib. In my case I'm using 3.4.3. so this is also an interview question. Maybe when the HR asks which version of matplotlib, which version of package you have used, so in that cases it is important you to know which versions of packages you have used in your project. Next is, let's try to, if you want to have a visualization, there is a subclass called pyplot. Okay, so pyplot contains all the histogram, pie chart, okay, all those functions are available. So I'm going to call this pyplot, and I'm going to have an alias, okay, nickname for this particular the library or the path, I also say matplotlib.py plot. So I'm going to call this one as a plt. If you run this one, so that means instead of typing again and again this, okay, so I can use only plt, then whatever the functions you need. Next is let's try to have a simple graphical presentation. Okay, so in this case what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to plot a graph which will have an x-axis as well as y-axis, and I'm going to, okay, draw one diagonal, okay, right from 0 comma 0, okay, to let's say x comma y. So in that case, suppose let's say you want to draw a diagonal, so we have an option, always remember, since we need numpy also. So pip install numpy you have to install, then you can call this package numpy as an np, and this numpy generally we use to handle the data structure. Let me try to write here in the comment, okay, to handle the data structure, let's say you might have learned about arrays, you might have learned about say list, okay, already we have covered all those things. So for that one we require numpy. Next is I'm going to set the scale. I'm going to create an object called x point, okay, and I'm going to call numpy. Array I'm going to call. In array I'm going to give, okay, my starting point as well as the end point as far as x axis is concerned. So you can drag this one, let's say you want 7, you can have 7, okay, there is no restriction, but make sure that, okay, while you're drawing any graphical representation, just check how much scale you want as far as x as well as y axis is concerned. In the same way, I can have y axis also, and for the y axis you can call y points. Okay, so y points np array 0 comma 255. Okay, so I'm going to have in the range of it, automatically it will take, okay, 50 ka scale it will take, and it try to display you. Already x axis and y axis is already set now. Next, if I want to plot anything, okay, within x and y axis there is a method called plot. Already the complete expression is given in the next line. Okay, so the plot method is used, okay, to plot the series. Now next is how I want to plot. I want to plot right from 0 comma 0, which is x axis and y axis, okay, and till 7 comma 255. Okay, so 7 comma 255 I'm going to draw it. So for that one you have to give x axis point as well as the y axis point. And if I want to show, okay, the complete graph, there is a method called, okay, show, and I'm calling this one, this is available inside plt is nothing but an alias for my matplotlib, okay, .py plot. If you shift and enter, you can see, okay, I have draw a diagonal right from 0 comma 0 to 7 comma 255. So this is one simple presentation, okay, graphical presentation of your sorry, visual presentation of your the data. Next, let's try to extend this discussion. Next, what I will do, okay, so in this case what I have done, so you can see it's starting from the origin here, okay, and ending with some x comma y axis. It is also possible to draw a diagonal not only from origin, so you can take any points, okay, from x-axis as well as y-axis, and you can draw the diagonal. In my case, in x-axis what I have done, I've taken 1 comma 8, so that means my x-axis will start from 1 and it will end till 8. Same way here, 3 comma 10 I have taken. That means my first point of the diagonal will be 1 comma 3. Next last point will be 8 comma 10 here. If you run this again, so rest of the code will remain same. If you run this one, now you can see, okay, I have drawn a diagonal right from 1 comma 3 to 8 comma 10. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so there should not be any confusion while drawing the diagonal as far as matplotlib and array concepts are concerned. The next is, there are certain algorithms like say k-mean clustering. If you are into data science, if you want to learn data science, you will understand what exactly the k-mean is. So in k-mean, generally what we do, we try to have a cluster of similar data. So in that cases, drawing the diagonal, drawing the line in between x and y axis is not feasible. It will not work out. In those cases, we need a dot. Okay, so we need a dot. For that one, what you can do is same libraries you can use, plotting without a line. Okay, so in that you can use the same library. X-axis as well as y-axis have given the same thing. In plot method, you can give the style of your the line. Okay, so in my case, I want to have a dot here. Okay, how we can do this? Using x comma x point, y point also given. After y point, you try to give what style of the graph visual presentation you want. So in my case, I want a dot here. Understood? And plt show. The moment when you hit on this, you can see. Okay, so you can see the two dots, which one is from starting, the another is from, okay, the ending point, which is in my case it is 8 comma 10. Let's try to have, let's try to extend this discussion. Next, say we want to have a diagonal, or we want to have a line in between multiple points. So how we can draw this? In such cases, what we can do is you try to set the scale. While setting the scale, you try to give specific points. So let's say I have given in x-axis 1 comma 2 comma 6 comma 8. In y-axis I have given 3 comma 8 comma 1 comma 10. In this case, what happened? It tried to draw a diagonal, or let's say the line. Right, it start drawing the line right from 1 comma 3, which is nothing but 1 point, which is a starting point. Next, it tried to end the line to the point 2 comma 8. Okay, and again it will start the line right from 2 comma 8 to, and it will end in 6 comma 1. Similarly, it last point will be 8 comma 10 here. Okay, and you can run this one and you can see. Okay, so the complete the line you can see over in our graphical user interface. Similarly, if you want to take, let's try to explore again. I imagine that I want only the points. How we can do this one? So let's try to copy this. I want to copy this, and let's try to go to that particular location and try to paste it over here, and let's see what output I'm going to get from this. If you run this one, now you can see the points line has converted into the dotted points. Understood? Hope you are cleared. Next is let's try to have a default axis. Let us imagine that you want to have a default x point. You don't want to mention anything on x point. Okay, you want to have only a y point. You are concerned about y points. So in that cases also, okay, matplotlib will support. So in my case, what I have done, I've taken y points. Okay, and I'm converting that. I'm taking all the data into the array format, 3 comma 8 comma 1 comma 10. So in that cases, by default it will try to choose based upon the number of the data what you have in your matplotlib. Okay, and it try to draw the lines, okay, as per the data what you have given. So if you run this one, you can see x-axis by default it will take, right, which starts from 0 to the number of points you have in y-axis, and it try to draw the line. It's pretty straightforward and very simple also. Okay, as far as the matplotlib is concerned. Next, we have the markers. Similarly, here also I have not given any the points. Okay, I'm just assigning the y points, which is 8 3 8 etc, and I want the marker. Okay, you can set here marker is nothing but I want both dotted dot as well as the line. So that point will consider as a marker here. So there is a method called, sorry, inside the plot class we have a feature called, or let's say you can say attribute also. Okay, marker equal to, you give this symbol, so you are going to get both the point as well as the line also. Okay, if you run this one, now you can see how beautiful it has come. Understood? So far we have learned how to learn how to design the lines, how to design the dotted lines, sorry, dots, and we have learned how to have both line as well as a dotted the concept using matplotlib. Next is, imagine that I want Okay, I want to have something, I want to do something better. Let us imagine that there are two types of data. Got a point? In that cases, I want to display in different colors so that I can understand very clearly which type of data, which category of the data it is. Got a point? So in that cases, I can change the color of the line also. By default it will be blue. Okay, so if you want to do it, so we can have here, okay, dot, this symbol is nothing but we are going to have a dot. Okay, and comma you give, and r stands for the red color here. Understood? It try to give a dotted line for you. Okay, so if you run this one, now you can see there are points with the red color. Understood? You can change it to some other color codes also. It is also a possible using a matplotlib. Next is, let's try to discuss on multiple lines, which is very important as far as uh, data science visualization systems are concerned. Let's say you have the data of male and female, how you can categorize the complete data in terms of male and female. Okay, if the data is in the same color, it's not possible. If the data is in the different color, it is possible to categorize easily by looking into those data. It is easy for us to understand, okay, how that we are, how many amount of data is available in inside your database system. Now to draw, let's try to draw multiple lines. In this case, what I have done, so I have taken y1. Okay, y1, which is nothing but my y-axis default, x will be default, always remember. Next, I have given some points here. I've taken one more y2. Again, it is going to be my y-axis. Okay, and I've given some points. I'm just plotting and I'm showing it. Okay, if you run this one, now you can see by default those data, no, by default matplot will choose the color itself. Got a point? And you can see how easy it is to represent as well as to understand the data of different category. You can take the example of male and female. Okay, so this is how we are drawing the data or visualizing the data using Python programming a language. Now let's say, let's try to discuss more on. So here labels are not there. When you have a huge amount of data, it's better to give the labels as well along with your data is concerned. Now we will try to give the labels both for x-axis as well as y-axis. How we can do it? So imagine that you have x and y axis, and these are my data: 80 to 125, which comes under x axis, 240 to 330, which comes under y axis. Now definitely I'm going to plot, or I'm going to draw my line x and y, x till y, using the plot method. Now if you want to give a label, what you can do is you can give the label using x label system or method x label. Okay, and you can give the description of your label also: average pulse. Okay, y label I'm going to have calorie, okay, burnage, and plt show will be default. So after writing, make sure that you, if you want to display it, you, okay, use plt dot show method. If you run this one, you are going to get okay, the line, but this time what happens, you are going to see even the labels in both x as well as y axis. Next, let's try to explore again. So add grid lines to the plot. Add grid lines means backend. Let us imagine that in the backend you want to have graded lines like a square. Generally we used to have this one in while plotting the graphs. Okay, it is also possible to have a background grid lines system also. How we can do this one? So to do this, what I have done, I've taken x axis and y axis. Title also I have given pg, okay, title sports watch data, so it will appear on the appear above the your graph. Next, x label as well as y label I have given. I'm going to plot it using x comma y, but this time I'm using one more extra feature called grid. Just call grid plt grid. So it by default it try to have a square type of a backend at your uh, graphs. If you plt show, then okay, if you run this one, now you can see I have the labels, I have the title also, I have the line also, and I have the backend also, which looks very beautiful, and it's easy to understand also, okay, how our data is taking the shapes as varies, or let's say uh, it's very easy to understand it. Understood. Next is multiple plots. Also we can do the same thing along with the grids option. So what I have done here, so let's say multiple graphs you want to display, how we can do this one. So we can do this using, let's say this is for the plot one. This is okay, I'm going to have a subplot. Understood. So PLT, there is a method called subplot. So I'm going to have 1 comma 2 comma 1. Next, show this one, okay, using plot x comma y. Similarly, if you want to have a multiple one, so this indicates 1 comma 2 comma 2. We'll talk about this one. Now next, plot 2 x comma y, I'm giving the values. Okay, subplot 2 1 comma 2 comma 2. I have given. Next, I'm just displaying using plot. And PLT show, the moment when you hit on this PLT show, you can see, okay, you are going to have two plots here, okay, with uh, 1 comma 2 comma 1, as well as 1 comma 2 comma 2 positions. Understood. So next is we can have, you can draw as many plots you like on the figure. Just describe the number of row, column and index of the plot. So this indicates, that means this indicates 1 comma 2 comma 1 is nothing but this is a row, this is a column, and this is going to be an index of your the graphs. Similarly, have a look on this. This the graph is already I have given this complete the Jupyter notebook is given. Okay, you can practice here. Same thing I have done. I'm just repeating it. Okay, so I'm just repeating every time when you are drawing the plot, you start with 1, 2, next 3, which is nothing but the index, 4, next to 5. Okay, 5 graphs I can see here. Similarly, okay, you can see here. Understood. So these many number of graphs I have here. Okay, this is very important aspect when we talk about when you have n number of features in your the files. Okay, so you, if you want to compare the features with the other features, so generally this works a lot even in the confusion matrix. Okay, this this helps. It comes handy, very handy for us. Okay, now next is we have scatter plots. Creating scatter plots, have a look on this. Dotted lines already we have given. So in dotted scatter plots, what we can do is, I have given x-axis and y-axis. These are the nothing but points. Now instead of plot, you give scatter, plt scatter. Then you can call your x object as well as y object. Next, plt show. So instead of line, you can see the scatter plots, dots can be seen. Okay, with respect to individual coordinates, which starts from 5 comma 99, 7 comma 86, so on so forth. Next is we have compare plots. Also in compare, this is very important. Scatter, I'm going to have two plots with scatter. Okay, so this is my first plot, first data x comma y. This is going to my second data. Okay, day 2, let's say this is day 1 data of 13 cars. This is day 2 data of 15 cars. Government, I'm just converting into scatter plot using the method called scatter, and I'm just displaying it. And now you can see, okay, the differentiations of your data. And if you look this numerical data, this data with this is very understandable. Okay, so it's very easy to understand okay, how the nature of the data here. So according to that, we can take the predictions or the decisions as far as the company operations are concerned. Well, next is we will try to discuss some more category of different types of graphs. Now you are familiar with line graph. Next, the scatter graph also. Now if you want to see, you want to have a range. Okay, range like this. Let's say you want to have the range of the colors. Okay, so 0 means dark blue and 100 means the yellow. So you can change the color of your the dots also based upon the values. That option is also we have. Okay, that is called Viridis options we have, and you can set like this. Suppose let's say x-axis and y-axis I have, and for the color you can give the range here. I am giving the range right from 0 to 100 here. So 0 means dark color, 100 means it goes till a yellow by default. And CMap you can give where it is. So there are different categories of the ranges are there, okay, where you can change the color. Let's say from red to green, got a point, okay, yellow to so and so forth. Okay, so we can do, and there are some naming natures are available. Okay, so based upon that one you can give the name for CMap. Now along with this one, so you need to give C equal to color also. And if you want to have a color bar, there is a method called color bar. So call that color bar and plt show. Now you can see this looks pretty interesting, as well as a lot of features are available. Okay, so you can add, this can be an assignment for you. You can add labels, titles, x-axis label, y-axis label, so and so forth here. Okay, next we have creating bars. Let's try to create see bars like histogram, etc. So how we can do is, I'm going to have x-axis but in this case I'm going to have abcd string type. So I have mentioned in double quote string, and y-axis we are going to have the values like 3 comma 8 comma 1 comma 10. And if you want to have a bar chart, so you can make use of the method called bar, okay, x comma y, then plt show. So the moment when you hit on this, so you can see the values along with the bar using the bar chart here. Understood? A B C D. Next the values also you can see. It's so easy as far as matplotlib in Python is concerned. In the same way we can have histogram also, which is very important, since when we talk about huge amount of a data, so we try to implement statistical concepts. Okay, so in that binomial equations will come. We want to calculate the mean, standard deviation, variations. So in that cases, we prefer to go with histogram concepts. Okay, so we can, so that we can have the frequency distributions, okay, within the data here. So to do this, we are going to have a method called random.normal. There is a method called random.normal. So call that one and give the points. So I'm going to give the points right from 170 comma 10 comma 250. So in that cases it try to, okay, choose the values according to the data and try to display the histogram. Suppose if you want to display the histogram, there is a method called hist of x data you give. Okay, then the moment when you hit on this, you can see, okay, you are going to get the histogram with frequency distribution a system. So right now you just try to understand how to design this histogram using the matplotlib. Later on sessions, if you are interested, so you can opt our full stack AI developer, data science, Tableau, the courses where this will help you a lot to understand the nature of data and how we can do predictions and so forth. Next we have another type of a chart called pie chart. So where you can divide or you can distribute your data in terms of 360-degree. So here what I have done, I've created y-axis. I'm assigning the point 35, 25, 25, 15. Okay, and I'm going to have labels also this time. So to apple 35, okay, 35 apple I'm assigning, okay, 25 banana, cherries 25, 15 dates. Now if I want to display a pie chart, there is a method called pie. You have to give your y value here and label also. Okay, labels equal to my labels you give. Okay, whatever the labels are there, that will be displayed. And to display this, there is a method called legend. Legend method you call, then you call plt show. The moment when you hit on this, so you can see this, the complete data is converted into pie chart along with the labels also. I hope you are cleared. There are different categories. There are different options are also available. Not only with this, uh, when it comes to visual representation. So you can try those different types of the methods which are available in Matplotlib. But Matplotlib is not so rich in visualization. We have one more called sklearn. Okay, SNS generally we say. So you can similarly you can install SNS and you can explore, okay, the visualization concepts which are available in the Python programming language. I hope you are clear with the concept. If you have any questions, you can write in the review box. Our representative will get back to you soon. Thank you very much. We are almost done with the module 3. I think there is one more concept that we need to cover. I think that is the uh, concept of object oriented concept and network automations. So after that, we are going to end this introduction to Matplotlib is the last chapter. In future, maybe we will try to add two to three chapters more. So you can go through this, and you have to attempt the quiz also. So after attempting the quiz, you can go for the next very important concepts of Python programming language called file handling and database system, where we are going to demonstrate both RDBMS as well as NoSQL database system, how to handle RDBMS and NoSQL database system using Python programming language in the basic level. Thank you. Thank you very much.